Hello and welcome to Leader Spotlight. I'm Tracy Clark, the Executive Director for the Louisa County Chamber of Commerce, and I am so excited to share with you and spotlight a new leader to Louisa County, Aila Boyd. She is the new publisher for the Central Virginian, who is a great partner to the Chamber and also to the county. We're really thrilled to get to know you and also hear what's going on with the Central Virginian. So welcome, Aila.
Thank you, Tracy. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Gosh, welcome not just to this interview, but also to Louisa County.
Yes.
We did have a chance to meet in person, which was great. I appreciate you coming out and doing so much to support the Chamber of Commerce. And for those of you who haven't had a chance to meet Aila yet, she actually has been involved with media and publications for a while now. She's also a past English teacher, high school English teacher. She's worked as an editor for several publications out of Roanoke, originally from Patrick County, Virginia. And then I just found out that she actually worked for a Chamber of Commerce in Botetourt as their social media manager. So I'm definitely going to be picking your brain for some things for that to help us here locally. So with that, I know that was just a brief overview. Why don't you take a second to just kind of introduce yourself to our Louisa community?
Sure. Yes. Thank you. I'm very excited to be here and appreciate this opportunity. I come from a small town. The county, Louisa County, reminds me a lot of the county that I grew up in and the county that I was editor of the paper at most recently. So I really appreciate the area, and I'm excited to get involved and to meet people. Obviously, it's a little difficult to try to have personal connections during this time and to meet new people, but I've really appreciated everyone that I've had the chance to connect with so far.
Yeah, it's definitely unique. I am absolutely a, touchy-feely, like to be around people. So being on Zoom is, I still appreciate the fact that we can interact with each other, but I am looking forward to, getting through some of this where we can introduce you and network and meet people throughout the county. So I want to start really just with a few minutes of kind of getting to know you a little bit more about your background, your history, leadership style, and things like that. But most immediately, what kind of attracted you to this opportunity in Louisa County and coming here to work and live?
Sure. So I'll start off with my knowledge of the Central Virginian. When I was editor most recently at the Fincastle Herald and the Benton Messenger, I was involved with the Virginia Press Association, and the president at the time, Steve Weddle, was the publisher of the Central Virginian. So I would see his name on a lot of the emails, and I would see the Central Virginian, but I was never really sure where it was located other than Central Virginia.
Right.
But I became aware of Louisa County when Dr. Lisa Chen came to Botetourt County, where my most recent paper was, as the superintendent. And for the first couple of months, she talked constantly about how much she loved Louisa County and what a great place it was, but she was happy to be there with us. So I knew that Louisa County was a great place based on the recommendation of Dr. Lisa Chen. So when I found out about this position, I knew that it would be a good fit.
Oh, that's great. Gosh, so you already have some connections here. Steve, yeah, we did a little bit of work with him. He's the publisher here. So that's great. What a great background. Lisa Chen, she actually just came back to the county as well.
She did. I called her up and I said, Lisa, you're not going to believe this, but I'm following you back to Louisa.
Oh, I love it. That's great. So that's good. So you're coming to the area. You already knew a couple people. That's wonderful. And I like the fact that you've actually worked in other rural communities. I think that gives you an immediate connection to kind of what's going on here, but also being involved. I think you mentioned Roanoke was in your history as well. And so that brings kind of a new perspective and opportunity, I think, to what we're doing here. So that's great. Give me a little bit of insight about kind of what led you to this career choice, teaching English and then eventually making the jump into editing and publishing. Like, what in your background or childhood, I mean, did you just, I want to teach English when I get older? Like, what led you to that?
Sure. So I would say the most formative thing was growing up. I would get up an extra hour early every morning and I would get all ready for school so that I could spend from 7 to 8 o'clock watching the Today Show. I was just the biggest news junkie. And I would go to school talking about everything that I heard on the Today Show, and none of the other students cared whatsoever. But it was largely at the time of the Twin Towers coming down and the Iraq War, and there was a lot going on in the country at that time, and I was just really intrigued. But then, obviously, aside from that, just like the Today Show or any newspaper in general, you're balancing a lot of content. For a newspaper, 1 minute you're talking to a local musician, the next you're talking to the chairman of the board of supervisors. It gives you the opportunity to learn a lot about different people, a lot about different professions, organizations. I'm the type of person who really loves learning. And so I felt like being in the news business would allow me that opportunity to dabble in a lot of different things. And in my career, I've dabbled quite a bit. I have a degree in theater, a degree in journalism, a degree in writing. And so it all just comes back to that thirst for knowledge. And so that led me to education. But then, although I really enjoyed it, I felt like it was time to head back into the news business. So even now, I still teach as an adjunct instructor online, but I knew that I wanted to be back in news full time.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. And, I've never really thought about it from that angle about, one of the reasons that I do what I do is that variety, that change, constant, for me, it's solving problems. And I guess that's a little bit of curiosity too. So that's very interesting. And that's great to know that there was that connection from, when you were younger and leading you into your career. That sounds great. And the fact that you have theater background, I had no idea. So maybe the next time we open up for some plays here, you can audition and participate with the Louisa Arts Center. That would be very interesting. So
yes, I've had a few conversations with them, so I appreciate the work that they do for the community and providing that cultural enrichment.
yeah, absolutely. It's a great center here located, and who would have thought, right here in the middle of Central Virginia, right? So you mentioned about knowledge and getting to know people and things like that. What do you feel like is the most rewarding aspect of what you do, sharing the news? What do you feel like is the most rewarding for you personally?
Sure. I think just being able to put out the paper every week, because we're giving people a wide variety of content. We're giving them the front page articles, whether it be, a feature on someone local who's interesting, the latest news on the board of supervisors, different opinions from people in the community. We're giving them a calendar. We're giving them a listing of jobs. I think just knowing that we're sending out a product that is really well-rounded and informs the community. It probably makes them laugh. Sometimes the political cartoons on the opinion page, we inform them, we make them laugh, we point them in the direction of jobs. So I think the most rewarding aspect of being involved in a newspaper is just knowing that you are an essential service for a community, especially a small community like this one.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Very fulfilling about serving the community there. And we have such a great partnership working with you guys. You have always done a great job of not only supporting the Chamber of Commerce, but the businesses in the community and the organizations. And I just want to say thank you for that. Your staff over there is just really, really on top of things and trying to do what they can to help the businesses, especially in the most recent year of the challenges that we've faced. Thank you for that. And I know we've got a great future moving forward. And with that, I want to kind of turn our conversation a little bit to more about the Central Virginian and what's coming in the future. And really your take now as the publisher. So let's start with kind of what is really the mission, or what do you see as the mission, or what you would like to take the paper into the next, season? What's your vision for that?
Sure. Well, as coming from a reporting standpoint, back when I was at another paper, I would hear a lot of conversations on the county level that broadband was an essential service like electricity, like water. And I think newspapers, media organizations, they are an essential service, because if people are not informed about what's going on, then I think that leads to a lot of decay among communities. So I think number one, just continuing to hold strong and give people a weekly dose of knowledge of what's going on. But aside from that, as most organizations during this time, and especially media organizations, newspapers, we've had to evolve a lot over the past year. And one way that we've done that is we launched a new website earlier this year, back in February, right before the real thrust of the pandemic started. And so I think it's a more streamlined way for people to get their news on the website. We have also launched a new event calendar on the website that gives people events from throughout the region, not just locally. But most importantly, we are launching a new app later this year, probably at the end of December, the very beginning of January. In the past, we've had a bookmark that was an app, but not really an app. So this is our chance to unveil a new app that you can actually have on your phone, click on it, and go directly there. So we're trying to evolve, and we're trying to make sure that we're tapping into a digital first climate so that we can meet people wherever they are.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So with the broadband challenges that we have in Louisa, and moving more to being able to provide an app and digital services, where do you see the impact, or what do you see the impact in terms of your print publication and subscriptions? Are you putting an effort on trying to grow that and continue with that, or are you just kind of maintaining, and you really are looking to shift more and more towards digital?
Sure. So you probably hear a lot of people saying newspapers are dead, and I'm strongly opposed to that, because there's nothing I love more than just getting a newspaper and getting to just have it right there in your hands and to interact with it. But a lot of people prefer a digital version. But in terms of growing our print subscription base, we're coming out with a lot of neat promotions. We just had one for Veterans Day, $18 for a year-long print subscription and access to our online version. So we're definitely investing a lot of time and resources into the print edition, and a lot of people get their inserts that they really enjoy. But in terms of the digital side, I think that there's a lot of room for growth. But in the past year, just on average, we're getting roughly 100,000 page views per month, which is a lot more than we would ever reach in terms of the print edition.
Yeah.
So, I know that there are challenges when it comes to broadband, but people are finding ways to get access to the content that we're putting out there.
That's great. So what do you, from the business perspective, what is the best advice that you could give to a business in terms of getting involved with the paper, or utilizing the paper to really help them, especially during this pandemic time? What's something that they can do to partner or work with you to help them?
Sure. So I've had a lot of conversations with our editor, David Holtzman, about trying to put an emphasis on highlighting businesses that have really adapted during this time, to try to highlight the successes, because it can be really tough sometimes looking at the death counts. So I think it's important to highlight some of the successes that businesses are having. So if your business has adapted in a unique way, please reach out to us. Let us know. We would love to do an article on your business. Also, be mindful of the reach that we have for advertisers. If you have new business hours, if you have a new product, please get in touch with our ad people. They would be more than happy to help get the word out about that. So I think just harnessing the power and the reach that the paper has. And also, like I said, 100,000 page views each month. That's a lot of eyeballs.
Yeah.
If you're interested in an online ad of some sort.
Yeah, we should definitely talk a little bit more offline about how we might be able to help, bridge that gap a little bit. One of our main objectives, obviously, is to helping our member businesses. But in most recent, with this pandemic, the chamber has really gone above and beyond to help all business, whether they're members or not. But we kind of all have to work together collectively to lift our community up. So I'm definitely interested in talking to you and David a little bit more. I've definitely seen, since you've been here, I've seen quite a difference in terms of a lot more coverage, it feels like, related to businesses and positive stories, as you just mentioned. So I think that's great. I'm really looking forward to seeing a little bit more about some of your influences with the paper and what they're going to do here in Louisa.
Absolutely. And in terms of the news content, that's the side of the business that I came up on. I have a keen interest in our editorial product. So if anyone's ever interested in discussing, article ideas, please reach out and let myself or David know.
That's great. Yeah, that's really good to know. Because there's always stories out there, right? And a lot of people just don't know how to get them shared. So
right.
The more that we can continue to, share back and forth with each other, I'll try to do a better job about making sure I feed stuff to you as well. But let's talk a little bit about, the paper. You guys are a staple in Louisa County. You've been here for, gosh, I don't even know the history. What, 100?
Over 100 years.
Yeah, a really long time. And I'm curious, what do you feel like from the history of the paper has maintained consistently in your service to the community? Do you have a feel for that?
Sure. I think the number one thing that we have maintained throughout our history and that I want to maintain is that we are invested in the success of Louisa County and the people that call it home. Regularly, if you're at a school board meeting, we have a representative there. If you're at the ag fair, we have a representative there. We are out in the community interacting, being at all of the events. Our ad people, they come in for just a minute in the morning and they're out all day long until 5 o'clock meeting with their clients and talking with them, seeing what's going on with them. So I think the fact that we are so invested in the success of the community is what has allowed us to be here and to serve the community for well over 100 years.
Well, I love it. And I love the fact that you're so in tune with Louisa County so quickly. I just see great things moving forward. I really appreciate your time with us this morning, or it's not even morning time, but, sharing this time with us. Before we do wrap up, is there anything else that you feel like you'd like to share that maybe we haven't talked about yet? Anything, whether it's about you or your vision for the paper, or just anything in general you'd like to share?
Sure. So I would just say that a lot of people view the paper as being a product that they receive in the mail. They go to their mailbox every Thursday, they open it up, there's the paper. It's just a one-way street. You pay us, we send you a paper, and that's it. But that's not what a community newspaper like this one is all about. It's your paper, and so we want you to contribute. If you have an opinion that you want to express, please write a letter to the editor. If you have a photo of an interesting sunset, take a picture, send it to us. Contribute. It's a back and forth street, so make sure that you do get involved.
Oh, that sounds great. I know that's a message that's important, I think, because a lot of times, I know for me personally, you don't always think of the newspaper as kind of this give and take.
Right.
You feel like they're just kind of out there reporting whatever it is that, you know, they have on their agenda or their list, but to know that it really is a give and take, that you want to connect with organizations and individuals in the community and share that on a larger scale. I think that's a really great approach. And I think it goes right in line with kind of the overall feeling that you get from Louisa County. You know, I've been in the area, working in the area for just about 2 years. And that was what I noticed right off the bat when you were speaking a little bit about meeting Lisa and her pride about Louisa County. I mean, it's definitely a great community, very connected. And, you know, again, welcome so much to Louisa County. We're happy to have you here. And we're going to wrap this up for our Leader Spotlight. Again, it was Aila Boyd, the new publisher for the Central Virginian. Welcome. Thank you so much for your time. And we look forward to the future of the paper and great things.
Thank you, Tracy. I really appreciate the opportunity.
You're welcome. Have a great day, everyone.